So next is the Battle of Buxar. The consequence of the Battle of Buxar. In this battle, the British defeated the combined armies, and Mir Qasim fled from the battlefield. Thereafter, he lived in obscurity and died in Delhi in 1777. So this victory of the company moreover strengthened, and it hold over Bengal. Gradually, the Nawab was turned into the figurehead. The defeat of the Mughal emperor and the Awadh Nawab also adversely affected to their prestige and power. Both signed the Treaty of Allahabad. So under this treaty, the control of the East India Company over Bengal was legalized. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II granted the East India Company the Diwani rights of Bihar and Odisha and Bengal. Diwani right means the right to collect the revenue taxes, and under this Diwani, the company had the right to collect revenue from these provinces and administer the civil justice. In return for the Diwani right, the company gave Shah Alam an annual pension of rupees 26 lakhs and also the districts of Kora and Allahabad. The company returned Awadh to Nawab Shujaudullah. Except the district of Kora and Allahabad, the Nawab permitted the company to carry out the duty-free trade in Awadh. Nawab Shujaudullah entered into a defense alliance with the East India Company. It means that the Nawab will not take any further steps to attack the British or the company, and the company also helped the Nawab against the future attacks, but the Nawab had to maintain the British troops at his expenses. Now moving to the next point, the dual system of government. The dual system of government, it was introduced by the Robert Clive. In this system, the East India Company enjoyed all the powers but had no responsibility. For the dual system of government, they made the son of that Mir Jafar as the next Nawab of Bengal, the Nizam-ud-Dawla. He became the puppet ruler. So under this dual system of government, the Nizam-ud-Dawla surrendered his Nizamat functions to a deputy Subedar or deputy Nawab who was appointed by the company. The Nawab had no right to dismiss his deputy without the company's consent or permission. So the East India Company became the real master of Bengal, and the Nawab was left with little power to exercise. Under this dual government, the company enjoyed the supreme power without shouldering any responsibility, and in general administration, the Nawab had to put up with the interference by the deputy Nawab. The company exercised the military power and collected revenue. It paid Nawab a fixed sum from its revenue collection for discharging his responsibility. Now the effects of the dual system of government. The people of Bengal suffered a lot under this dual system of government. The officers of the East India Company became corrupt. The office not interested with any significant administrative concern about making money for the company for themselves. The company did not bother at all about the welfare of the common people, and the Bengal was hit by the severe famine in which one-third of its population died, but neither the company nor the Nawab took any steps to alternative the people's sufferings. So at last the dual government was abolished with the appointment of Warren Hastings as the governor of Bengal. Now the East India Company ruled the Bengal directly.